Today on NerdOut, how to make a fungible token on Cardano that doesn't completely suck. Welcome back to NerdOut, the show where we take a look at Cardano, we break it down, but we don't dumb it down. Today we're talking about fungible tokens, how to create them. So a lot of you know I work with drip drops, and onboarding new tokens is kind of a painful process because everybody gets through the process, they get ready to onboard, and then we take a look at their token and it's just completely garbage, minted, wrong decimals, wrong everything. So we're going to walk through today how to create a token on Cardano that doesn't completely suck. So take this to heart. It may take a while. This may be a little longer video than normal, but just bear with me because we're going to kind of do this on the fly. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So to get started, we're going to be using a set of scripts by Martin Lang. He is a Cardano ambassador. He has a GitHub where he posts these scripts, and they are very useful for doing things with the Cardano node. So all of this requires that you have a running Cardano node, that you've pulled in these scripts. There will be a link in the description below. It's just the simplest way for you to create a good token on Cardano. Martin's done all the heavy lifting for you. The best way to support him is by delegating to his stake pool. He's an Austrian stake pool operator. Atata is the name of his stake pool. So let's jump into it. So I have the scripts set up in a folder here called Scripts Cardano Testnet. We're going to be making a token on the testnet today. So the first thing we also need to do is make sure we have a testnet wallet with some funds. I have a drawer manager wallet here with some test funds. I've got a cool 2.7 million in it. So we'll use this test funds wallet for minting our tokens. And today we're going to make a token that is the smile token. So this is going to be the image for our token. I've also already uploaded it to IPFS. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. The IPFS URL for it is here. And so let's go back to taking a look at his scripts. So there's a couple of scripts. The first one we're going to do is the query address script. I also have the keys not only in Drawer Manager, but I also have them here on the command line. So if we just list them, it's called the payment, S key, V key. They're just regular old CLI keys. They're not hardware based. His scripts also do support hardware wallets, but for simplicity's sake and speed, we're not going to do that today. So let's run a query address first all. Let's do 01 query address and look at the test funds.payment. You don't have to put in the .addr at the end. And if you've set up his scripts correctly, you should see the amount of ADA that you have on that address. So now we know we have enough gas to go and make our token. The next thing we want to do is, let's take a look at those scripts again, is we want to go down here and run script number 10, which is to generate a policy. So that's a policy. It can be used to mint fungible tokens or non-fungible. We're going to be using them to generate a fungible token today. So let's go and run 10, and we're going to call our token Smile, and we're going to say we're going to use CLI signing keys. So for the policy keys it's going to generate, it's just going to use CLI instead of the hardware wallet. And then I set a number of slots or seconds from now that I want the policy to expire. And so I've set it to 180 days. This is 180 days in seconds. And you want to set it to something reasonably long, but not terribly long. And this is just in case you've done something wrong with your token metadata. It gives you a little bit of time you can like mint an extra one, and then burn it right away and attach new metadata to it. Once that policy locks, you're no longer able to adjust your token. You're no longer able to mint or burn anymore. So you want to set that. You want it to be set. You don't want an infinite policy on most tokens. You want a fixed supply. So it's a good idea to set this to something. So we'll go ahead and generate the policy on that. And you'll see it runs the script and it generates a policy V key, policy S key, and it says the policy is invalid after this given slot height. So it went ahead and took the current slot height, added on my 180 days to that, and set it in the policy as this before slot. So that means I'm allowed to use this policy script before that slot occurs on the testnet. You also notice that I've got this nice policy ID here. The next thing you're going to want to do is create your metadata. So metadata is very important. If you want your token to look right on cool websites like PoolPM, you'll want to make sure that you have token metadata. So let's copy this and let's edit some metadata. And I've pre-populated some of this except for the actual policy ID. And so I'm using a couple of different SIPs. One is just token metadata standard 721. 721 comes from Ethereum, I believe. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace this policy ID with ours. And then you'll notice I've added some other attributes like publisher. This isn't really our website, but whatever. And then I've put in the IPFS image. It's a PNG image, and I've said the name is Smile, all caps. We're also doing another SIP that was created by SundaySwap, and this one is not yet merged, but this does fungible tokens. So it's the idea that you can put decimals and other things in the metadata. And you'll notice I've put both the logo and the icon in here, and that's because the SIP has gone back and forth several times as to whether it should be called logo or icon. And so if I put both in there, it should be fine to find it no matter which way the final SIP ends up. You'll also notice that I've converted all caps Smile into hex. You can use websites for that. Here's a simple ASCII to hex converter. You just type in your text, converts it to hex, good to go. So I've already done that, and then I filled in my ticker, which is Smile, description, logo, icon, decimals I've said 6. Now most of the time if you're doing a fungible token, you do want to use decimals. It's kind of a dead giveaway if somebody comes to us with a token that has no decimals, or they tell us it has decimals and then it actually doesn't. That means they don't know what they're doing as far as how to do decimals on Cardano, and we'll get to that in a second. So now that we've set all of this up, let's go ahead and save it. And the next script we're going to want to run is our 11A, I believe, which is mint asset. So let's do our 11A. And we give it a couple of parameters. We're going to say smile.smile, and then we're going to give it a number of tokens. Now I'm going to mint 12 million tokens, and it's important to get the number right. So the first thing you do is you put in 12 million, and then you have to add in more numbers for the decimals. So I'm going to do 6 decimals, so I need 6 more decimal places. And the reason for that is because on Cardano, there isn't actually any decimals anywhere. So even ADA doesn't really exist. The only thing that exists on Cardano is Lovelaces. A Lovelace is 1/1,000,000th of an ADA. So that's why Cardano has 6 decimal places. So when you're sending somebody ADA, you're actually sending them the equivalent number of Lovelaces, which is just a regular integer, no decimals. It's just a bigger number. And then the next parameter is our payment address. So the key we're going to sign this transaction with, and that's where the tokens will land when it's done. And then we also pass in our metadata.json file. So we'll go ahead and hit enter on this command. And it's going to find some funds for us, and then it's going to create the transaction to mint. And we're going to say, yes, we want to mint that. And so now it's put that transaction on the chain. And let's wait a few minutes here, and then we should see it appear over here in our wallet on Jar Manager. And But while we're waiting for that, let's do one other thing. You notice it created this smile.smile.asset, and that's the file name we asked it to create. And this is just kind of a dummy placeholder right now. And it also tells us like how much we minted, the name, policy ID, all the details about what we did kind of last. But we're going to edit that because we actually want to register our token and the decimals in the token registry on Cardano. That is also important because some wallets, like Daedalus, they don't look at the metadata on-chain yet. In fact, many wallets do not yet. We just added that to our metadata just to future-proof our token. Most look at the Cardano token registry. This is a registry that on testnet is run by OHK. On mainnet, it is run by the Cardano Foundation. So you'll have to create a pull request and get it merged. But let's do our info here. And then optional info, our ticker is SMILE, URL, decimals, we're going to put in 6 there, and our logo PNG file. I have a file locally on the hard drive that I already uploaded to IPFS, and that was in smile.png. So once you've set this kind of preps the next script we're going to run. So let's go ahead and save that. And the next script we're going to run is going to be 12A. And so 12A, if we look at the usage, all we have to do is just say generate with our policy name. So our policy name is SMILE, our asset name is SMILE. And if we hit that, then it does all this awesome magic, creating a JSON file that is valid for the token registry. So, there's certain things you've got to do. Make sure your PNG is small enough because Daedalus likes a small PNG. So it makes sure all of this says OK, and we've got this JSON file. So once we've done that, we're going to go to the registry. And we can look at that over here. So this is the testnet registry, input output runs it, and then there's the mainnet one as well. So I'm going to go into that folder and metadata registry testnet, and let's make sure we're up to date. I've got some shortcuts. Let's make sure we have the latest master. Okay, so let's create a new branch. We'll call our branch SMILE. And then we'll go into the registry folder. And then let's scroll up a bit. I forgot what our name was. Yeah. We'll just find it from there. So our policy started with B81. So into here, we're going to copy that file that Martin Scripts created for us. So B81, that's the file. We're going to copy it to this folder, this registry folder. Okay, and now we see, if we look at status, we've got a file there. And let's go ahead and add that file to a commit. And then if we do a status again, you see it's a new file. Add SMILE token is our message for the commit. And then I will then push that up to my forked repository. And we'll say push it to the branch smile. And then it's going to give me a pull request link here. So let's go ahead and open that link. And I'm not signed into GitHub. Fun. Okay, well, we'll skip this section for now. Anyway, you sign in, you put up the pull request, you get it merged. That's all we do on that side. I'm not going to bother signing in. That'll take me forever. So now that we have that, we have our token created. Let's take a look at it over here in Drawer Manager. Drawer Manager also does not display token decimals. It's a pretty simplified wallet, so we see all 12 million times a million over here. And you know, if we've messed up, if we've made a mistake, there's another script that you can run of Martin's, which is the burn script. So now that we're done with this, we don't really need to merge it into the testnet. We're just going to go ahead and burn the token. So let's get back to our folder. And then that is 11B. And we're going to burn smile.smile, all 12 million tokens, and they are sitting on the test funds payment address. So we will do another transaction to burn them. We'll burn them all. And then it says our last transaction was to burn 12 million. And then the next time we get a new block over here on testnet, and these tokens should go away. Testnet does tend to run a little bit slow. But yeah, so that's how you get a good token on Cardano with the decimals. If you do all that, it'll show up properly in most of the wallets. It'll have an image on it. It'll show up on Pool PM. It'll be very easy if it goes onto a DEX. Having those decimals is very important because it makes it easier to do the swaps if you can swap fractions of your token. And you see there the token got burned. So with that, that is how to create a token, fungible token on Cardano that does not suck. Nerd out.